Good morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever and whenever you are. My name is Benjamin, and welcome to part 7 to this Platformer Ninja series. In this video, we're going to be setting up a basic finite state machine for our character. If you remember, in the very first video in this series, we showed the character climbing on walls, and in order to do that, we need to have a state machine for our character where we can manage a movement state and a wall climb state, and we can shift between these two states. And we're not going to implement the wall climb state just yet, but we're going to implement our state machine so that we'll be ready in a future video to do the wall climb state. This video is made possible by the students who support me by purchasing my courses. If you're interested in those, there will be a link in the description. Let's get started. So all of the logic for our move state exists right here inside of our physics process. And essentially the idea behind creating a state is that we'll have logic that runs inside of this physics process depending on which state we're in. So if we're in the move state, we'll run this logic right here. And if we're in the wall climb state, we'll run different logic in the physics process. Okay, so it all kind of comes down to that. And I'm going to keep things pretty simple. I have more advanced state machines in some of my other videos and in my courses. But for this, I'm going to do just a simple state machine with an enum. So we'll start at the top by creating a new enum. And we'll just do brackets like this, and we'll have move as one. And, since there's not very many, we'll do it horizontally. This. We'll have move as one and climb as another. We've got move and climb. These are our two states. And then we can have a state variable here. Create a new variable. State. And it will be our enum. Should probably have a name here, I think. Yeah, move is an enum value but does not contain a type. I guess we can just do this. We don't even have to name it. You can name your enum, so it could be called states like this. And in that case, you would set it to states.move. This. An S, states. So, but I'm not going to actually name it. I'm just going to leave it like this. There we go. So our state variable by default is set to move. Okay, so we've made a variable. We've assigned it to an enum value. Nothing special there. Inside of our physics process, what we're going to do here is we're going to say match state. A match statement is kind of like a case statement if you're familiar with, or a switch statement if you're familiar with other programming languages. It just allows us to match whatever state to a value. So we can say if we match this to move, then we'll run all of this code right here. In order to do that, we need to tab all of this code over so that it exists within this move state. And then we can minimize this state by pressing this right here if we want to. And then we can add another state here called climb. Then we can just put pass in here, but that would be our climb state right there. And now we have a move state. If our state is set to the move variable, our physics process will run all of this code. And if our state is set to the climb variable, our physics process will run this code instead, which right now isn't any code. But we should be able to run it and see that we can continue to run the move state. Now, technically, we do have the climb state, so we can set this to climb. We can set our state to climb and press run. And our character doesn't move, right? They're no longer running any code inside of the physics process because there's no climb state code right now. But we can easily switch states, right? It would be interesting actually, now that I think about it, to make this an export variable, export var state, so that, and we could put it up here at the top. So it's at the top over here. Now, if we make it an export variable, it seems that Godot doesn't really know what to do with a state that doesn't have a name in an export variable like this. So we're going back to naming this to state. I'm just going to name it uppercase state like that. We'll do state.climb like this. And then down here we have to do state.move and state.climb. There we go. And now Godot can handle that export variable better because we gave it a name. We named this. So now characters in the move state could run and jump, switch to the climb state, switch back to the move state. Managed to switch to the climb state in the air. Back to move. And we can manipulate the character's states right here in the editor, which is kind of cool, to be honest. I haven't really ever done that before, so it's kind of neat to see it work like this. So we've set up our state system, our finite state machine, basically. We're going to also add coyote jump real quick because it will just polish our move just a little bit. So right now, if our player tries to jump right after leaving a ledge, they can't. And sometimes it just feels like you press the jump button, you should be able to jump, right? We just barely left the ledge. We want to hit the jump button, but then we can't jump. We're going to add a coyote jump here. In order to do this, we'll just make a new variable called coyote time like this. Coyote time, we'll set it to 0. And every single frame in our physics process, we'll do this only inside of our move state. Every single frame will set coyote time plus equal delta. Okay? And then what we need to do here is we need to be able to detect if we've just walked off of a ledge. And to do this, we can come down by move and slide, and we can make some variables. The variable we're going to create here is called was on ledge. We're going to set this equal to is on floor. Okay? Now the ordering here matters. We're putting this before our move and slide because move and slide is going to update these functions and make them return different values. Okay, so was on ledge is equal to is on floor. And then down here we can say if was on ledge. So if we were on a ledge and not is on floor, so we were on a ledge, now we're no longer on so we were on the ground. Okay. Was on floor. We'll call this was on floor. I don't know why I named it ledge. Was on floor. So if we were on the floor and we're no longer on the floor and velocity dot y is greater than 0, greater than or equal to 0, then we know that we just went off of a ledge. Okay? And the reason we know this is because we were on the floor, we're no longer on the floor, and our velocity is currently down. So we have to account for whether or not you just barely jumped, right? Because if we didn't have this right here, we were on the floor and now we're not on the floor, that would also trigger from a jump. But if we check to make sure that our velocity is down, we know that we didn't just jump because otherwise our velocity would be negative. We'd be going up. Our velocity, our y velocity is down. We're falling. Then we can, here's where we can set our coyote time to 0. Actually, what we'll do is we'll set coyote time equal to some number like 0.2. That's 0.2 seconds. And instead of increasing the coyote time every frame, we're actually going to decrease the coyote time every frame. Okay? So if we leave a ledge, we get this amount of time for our coyote time duration. 0.2 of a second. But every single frame, that value is going down. Now if we look at our jump, we can say if input action is pressed, and here's where we get to add a little bit to this. And we're on the floor, or coyote time is greater than 0. So if we're on the floor, or if coyote time is greater than 0, then allow us to jump still. This will just allow our player to jump right after leaving the ground. You can see that does work now. We get just a split second, and it's actually kind of a long time. That's a pretty long time. Seriously. That is a pretty long time. I was able to jump very far away from that ledge. So I'm going to set it to 1 for this instead of to 0.1. That feels a little bit better. I want it to be lenient to kind of let the player jump right at the ledge, but not feel like they can like get a second jump. And even I can time it pretty good to even get a really lenient jump still. So there we go. Okay, that's going to be it for part 7. Thank you so much for watching this video. Hope you learned something and enjoyed it. If you did, please like the video and subscribe to the channel, and I will see you all in the next episode.